So I'm aware that we can dream. And this is something that, again, they just passively like, oh, did you have a dream last night? Like, no one understands what dreams are. No one understands what dreams are. So I'm going to put that in here too. No one understands exactly what this reality is. No one understands what dreams are. And no one knows what happens when this chemical is ingested and your awareness of you is expanded to some place in some realm that doesn't make any sense or have any reference points here in this one. So why is this important? And why do I try to connect this, what seems to be down the rabbit hole, hallucinogenic, cosmic, yogi meditation experience with real life? Why would I try to connect those dots when they seemingly are so separate? And the answer is that they are so not separate, it's unbelievable how not separate they are. If we allow ourselves to see the significance of what all these things are, that there is a you, we talk about on the show all the time, there is a you, the I am of you. What that is it's that still conscious, quiet observer that exists beyond any label you could possibly give it. It is just stillness. It is pure awareness, and it is aware of the character of you. This is where it gets important. The character of you, the avatar, the Pat Mahan is a construct that exists in the conscious mind of myself and the collective consciousness of anything and everything that there is cosmically and in this reality. I exist as a construct. You exist as a construct. And the version of you that you were when you were 6 is a completely different version of you than you are now, unless you're listening to this when you're 6. And if so, good for you. They're different humans completely, physically, mentally, belief system, what you do in the world, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, everything. The story of you is different now, probably than it was 10 years ago. But the I am Pat that references the character is the same. It is, I believe, infinite. It is timeless. It exists cosmically in a place that is not from here. And you are the same. I believe we are all the same. We all have access to the same I am, but it labels things differently. So in order to make a shift, in order for me to make a shift in my life, what needs anyone to make a shift in their life? What has to happen? What has to be recognized? One is the reason that we haven't done it yet is because we have a story and we are attached to that story that says that we are that thing. And to go out and grow beyond what we believe we are is death to that story. And since what is new cannot be measured or labeled or defined yet, because we have to trust, we have to believe, we have to have faith in something unseen, what that can do is cause this story to have more power than what your possible potential that exists in the world could have or does have. You, I am, that is aware of everything, is aware of all of this. You're aware of the story. You're aware of infinite potential. You're connected to the source of this, God, whatever you want to call it. You are that. And I don't mean you, that your name, place, or your avatar. I mean you, the I am, that observer, connected to all this, can see all this. Why is that important? Because the further you allow you to grow beyond the story of you, that is where growth happens. That is where expansion happens. That is where anything that you want to become you allow it in. But you must imagine it's just a balancing act. So whatever you're holding on to here, as far as why you do and don't do what you want to do or should do, in order to allow the answers to what you need to do to come in, the you that's the observer of the story has to detach from it so that you can move that out of the way, purge it, and let in the new thing that you want to make yourself aware of, which is infinite potential, the new path, the new choices. So why is this important that we identify with a you that is the observer versus you that is the character or the person in the world? Why do we need to do that? Why is it so important? Because if you, observer, think that you are the character, you will live to the labels that you define yourself by. You will unconsciously, repetitively, and hypnotically live to the labels that you define yourself by. They call this the law of hypnotic rhythm. If you've ever read Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil, he also wrote Think and Grow Rich. This is a little bit lesser known book, but I believe equally as powerful. Any thought that is a limiting thought, any thought that is counterproductive to that of you connecting with this infinite potential is what he calls the devil. And if you give any attention to that energy, it grows. If you give any, why would we give attention to the energy? Because we believe it. So you have to go through this process of disconnecting you, the observer, from you, the character in the world. How, why then this stuff? What does it matter that there are dreams, that there's a dream reality? What does it matter that there's a DMT reality or this cosmic reality that psychedelics or high vibrational meditation can introduce us to? Because we are told that when we dream at night, that it's just something that happens. Like, right, you're in 4th grade and you're in school and just like, oh, you're dreaming? That's good. What do you mean I am asleep? So the physical idea of me is not there, but the I am that we're trying to introduce you to here, this cosmic conscious, still I am observer, is aware of a different reality, doing different things. And sometimes you know yourself in the dream as a completely different person, as a completely different look, as a completely different feel. You could be an animal in a dream. You could be just a still rock in a dream. You could be a star, a comet. You could be anything in a dream, but you in the dream world still reference you, I am, as you, without the labels of Pat Mahan. I was a bear in a dream a week ago. I had no idea that bear didn't have any of my qualities. It didn't have any of my personality was irrelevant. I was that effing bear, and it was just a dream. That's just what we talk about it. Here's the trick, though. You are constructing this dream inside of your mind's eye, inside of your imagination, inside of some different realm. This dream is being constructed. You're populating the dream with any person that's in that dream. You ever been in a dream and you're having this conversation with somebody at a diner and you're like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And it's so real. That person is so real. And then you wake up and it takes a second. You're like, what the, like, oh, whoa, okay. That was just a dream. Analyze that for a second more. That experience was so real to you that you had a physical response in this reality. That person was not there. That's not a real person. Like you here in this reality would imagine that person is a real person. Like I hug Gina, the love of my life, and I'm like, you're a real person. In the dream, that person that I was talking to at the diner is just as real as it feels here. You don't know you're in a dream until you wake up. I'm going to say that again. You don't know that you're in a dream. We don't know that we're in a dream until we wake up here and we go, oh, that was a dream. When you're in a dream, you don't remember here. I'm going to say that again. When you're in a dream, you don't remember here. Ever, never. There might be similar things that are happening in that dream that reference points in this reality, but you don't remember. You're not like, oh, shit, I'm home dreaming, unless you're having a lucid dream. Now I'm going to dive in deeper into this rabbit hole. A lucid dream, what's that? A lucid dream is when you wake up in your dream. Who is waking up? Because you're still asleep here. You are still asleep on your bed or in your couch or in your car, in your office, depending on where you're sleeping. You are asleep here. The you that we in this reality at a lower frequency believe is all there is. This is all there is. This is it. This is all there is. No, absolutely not. You are sleeping and your consciousness is awake inside of your dream reality. This is not like just a video game or the beginning introduction to Inception. You're awake in your dream. This is a provable thing that can happen. You could actually train yourself to do this. I've done it. And you can actually go and see research that's been done on this where they can prove that people are waking up in their dream. Who is waking up if you are asleep here? When you wake up in your dream, you can actually get to a point where you can allow your dream avatar, the you that's in your dream avatar, to do whatever you decide you want to do. And how long can you do that for? So if you're like, I want to fly, you will be able to fly in this dream. If you're like, I want to do whatever, you can do that thing. Do you know how long you can do it for? Until you realize that until you don't believe it anymore. Like if the voice comes in, if I'm flying my dream and all of a sudden there's a voice that's like, you can't fly, then you'll fall in your dream, even though like so belief systems, we're shifting belief systems here is basically what I'm trying to get to. So this you that can go to, is aware of you in this reality. And then this you that is aware of you, and it doesn't have to be you physically, in a dream reality, there's another level to this. And that is what, controversial as it may be, I'm not a proponent for it. I'm not somebody who was suggesting to do it. Actually, quite the opposite. Actually, when I've actually done this several times, and when I did it the first couple of times, I was like, everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to do this. If everyone did this, the world, reality would change. And although I believe that, I believe that we have to be very, very careful with these kinds of things. So I'm going to put that as an asterisk first. But in this kind of a scenario, what happens is, even above and beyond this dream reality or this dream state that you, the observer of this process, can go to, here you go. Undescribable. It's undescribable. There are no words to describe what is experienced. Can't see him do this. Here in this realm, on this type of a blast out of your body. Michael Pollan, who is a very respected author and food, I don't know if he's a critic, but he very, very well respected author, wrote a book called How to Change Your Mind, where he was so interested in mushrooms and psychedelics and psilocybin and even DMT and this type of experience. He had an experience that was so out of his body that he said he finally understood why there was something instead of nothing. Like, if you think about, some of the questions were like, why is this here? Why is there something? Why is there not just nothing? He answers it best when he says that he went to a place where it was just pure awareness. There was no reference to himself as a person, as a human, as in anything. It was just pure awareness. And he said that part was terrifying to the I am of him that was kind of figuring it out. But as he began to come back down in consciousness, again, imagine this is just the highest frequency you can get to. I can't get my hands on it. As he was coming back down into consciousness, there are different frequencies of labeling systems, and you begin to remember who you are, what you are. Like, okay, I'm a human. He says, I have legs. Okay, I do this. Now the story comes back in. I live here. My name is this, blah, blah, blah. But those things don't exist up here. They don't exist. It doesn't matter. The labeling system doesn't matter. So the higher in frequency of consciousness you go, the less your story matters. So again, to tie this back in and bring it all in, why have I dedicated my life to trying to at least be a reference point or source of allowing people to understand that they have the potential to shift their frequency and vibration of consciousness in the world. And it's because I found for myself that at higher frequencies of consciousness, where we are being called to all of the time, called to higher, called to more, your inner self, your highest version, your best version, we are being called all the time. So much so that when we don't answer the call, it feels like garbage. It feels like, honestly, think about that resistance-wise. When you're not doing what you came here maybe to do, or authentically are aligned with, when you're not doing it, it feels horrible. We feel off. We get depressed. We get anxious. We need to distract ourselves. But when we are in a flow state and we're doing something, we are accessing a higher state of consciousness. These are just, the reason I put these here is because they're exemplifying different experiential qualities that our consciousness can have. You being allowed, if you will, or having access to all of them, but not you, the character, not me, Pat Mahan, who has a podcast and who teaches none of that. That's what we're doing here. But who you are is the awareness that has access to all of these different realities, all of these different places. You came here. What you are is so much grander than anything you think you are as a human construct inside of the collective consciousness of lower frequency humans, which is where we are right now. So we are looking to shift above and beyond that. You're being called to shift above and beyond that. The more you can understand that you dreaming at night is not something that should just be like, oh, you had a dream last night? That's great. You to understand what had a dream, who wakes up in a lucid dream, what is that experience? How are we controlling it? Why is it that on a DMT experience, in a matter of 7 minutes, you feel like you're gone for 1,000 years? You have access to some feeling that is above and beyond anything that, and I'm telling you, any human could come back and describe to you. It'd be like trying to describe the color red to someone who's never seen anything in their life before. You can't actually experience it. This is also why you can never convince anyone of anything as far as a spiritual or conscious expansive change in your life. You have to just live it and be it. I could never convince you that any of this is true at all. And I promise you that I would never try to, but I can share it. And I believe firmly that there's a part in you and every other person, even if you hate every word I'm saying, that's like, okay. And then I believe from there that begins the seed, like the seeds of this knowledge and wisdom coming back down into that human. And we're here to wake people up. We're here to wake up ourselves. If you're listening this far in, absolutely, you are here to be that light and to use the fact that you know that you are this I am, that you are not just, you are, of course, all of this, but you are not just that. And your consciousness has the potential to raise in frequency to where you are not living in a state of separation. You are not living in a state of fear. You are not living in a state of judgment, of labels, of lack of any of that. You can exist. And I'm telling you, when I tell you that I lived down here for decades and created such chaos in my life and limiting belief systems that I was so attached to, that it took me asking really deep questions about myself and then answering them honestly without fear to the best that I could do, to be able to shift up this frequency scale, to be able to perceive things differently so that I could stay there long enough to see an actual physical result in my life. And then from that point, you can continue, if you choose to cultivate that to a place where you won't even need, any chemicals at all to get you to that point. It's just a progressive experience where you just shift up and up and up. And you can actually do this here in this reality on your own. You could do it through meditation. You could do it through journaling and scripting practices. It's something that we can do. But the goal is to balance our conscious experience between all of this that's happening, not to label and judge ourselves, because then if we don't label and judge ourselves, we absolutely will have less of a desire to judge and label anyone else. Because up here, you see that we are all connected. We are all one thing. So it does matter. It's not crazy. It's not down the rabbit hole. And without doing anything nuts, you can experience this just in your daily waking life through the conscious observation of your thoughts, questioning and challenging limiting belief systems, and then really starting to identify with the you that is observing all this instead of the character that feels that it's limited by it.